gave her the $2,000, not promising that you're going to buy the car, right? You just wanted to hold it so I can come back and test drive this car, correct?
Exactly. Yes, ma'am.
So why were you willing to forfeit $500 when you were entitled to your entire $2,000?
Well, I figured that it's better to get some money back instead of, nothing.
Okay, Mr. Mays, did you have this conversation where you were willing to give him $1,500 and not $2,000?
But there wasn't the 2 days after this all originated.
It's dated,
this was months after that,
on.
He and I spoke. I just want to clarify, but it wasn't in September. The conversation happened sometime later.
So he created this written agreement in September in hopes that you would later agree to it? That makes no sense.
Ma'am, I'm not trying to explain his actions. I'm just telling you what I know.
Mr. Mays, I need you to sit down for a second. Thank you. Miss Mays, you signed this piece of paper.
Yes, I did.
You were aware of this deal.
Yes.
That he would get $1,500. You didn't read this either? Did you read anything? You didn't? So. Judge Juarez.
All right, Mr. Mays, come on back up here, because I have a burning question I've been waiting to ask you. You kept saying earlier that you had a man-to-man conversation. Is there something about a man-to-man conversation that makes it better than a man-to-woman conversation?
No, ma'am, not in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
I didn't even intend to imply that.
Good. So
simply what I was trying to state was the fact that he and I were both talking, the two of us on the driveway.
You understand that your wife has just as much power to make a deal with him as you would?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. And he's entitled to rely on what she says just as much as he's entitled to rely on
I would assume we're all adults here.
Yeah. All right, you can sit down. What I still don't quite understand, Mr. Tackett, is what led to this document being signed?
Mr. Mays brought it up.
Right.
He goes, look, I said, I want a refund.
Yeah.
He goes, look, I'm not going to give you back $2,000, but I will give you back $1,500. And that was in September when I talked to him.
And were you comfortable with that deal at the time?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, go ahead. What do you want to say?
Our conversation was, in fact, January was when he would have the car paid off. And I kept the car for several months after that to give him time to get
I understand your point that the conversation was January. The problem is the written document says July. Why does this document also contain a provision that you have a payoff balance date of $6,000 if you had already decided basically not to buy the vehicle?
That's if I would have come up with the money, but I didn't have the money, ma'am.
I understand. So you really wanted to lock in your entitlement to get $1,500 back?
Yes, because he brought it up, and he goes, I'll pay you $1,500. I said, that's fine. That's fine. I'll settle for it.
Okay.
I think we are sufficiently
confused
that we can resolve this case for both of you. So I'm going to ask you both to step out, and we will deliberate. Thank you both very much.
Thank you both. This courtroom is now in recess.
Reading the complaint and the answer, I get two distinct versions of this transaction. And then the plaintiff, by submitting this document, which he never referred to in his complaint, gives us a third version of the transaction. The defendant's defense is that Mr. Tackett breached the contract by not paying for the car either on January or July, or you forfeit your $2,000 deposit. This document says that if you sell the car, whatever your understanding is, you are going to reimburse me $1,500 from the deposit. And she did. She sold it in May.
And she sold it.
So according to this agreement,
you were supposed to cut him $1,500, even though I think he deserves $2,000. He signed this document.
But let's assume that, technically he would be entitled to the full $2,000, but he agreed to take $1,500. The agreement gives him $1,500.
I think it was a stressful situation. He was like, it's either $0 or $1,500. I'm sorry.
He drafted this agreement. He drafted it.
Right.
He said $1,500.
Because he had a conversation with their husband.
Overrule him.
He had a conversation with the husband. The husband said, this is all you're going to get.
And I fully believe that the husband said to him, all you're getting is $1,500. I told you man to man, right, not to leave this money. You left the money. That's how I see it going.
So you're only going to get...
So that's going to cost you $500.
And they would still win. They'd get $500 that they didn't originally have.
Are both of you saying you think he deserves $2,000?
Well, my concern is, was there any consideration on the part of the defendant for this agreement?
And it doesn't seem like it, because they get to keep the car and sell it.
But they've extended an offer to purchase the car for a specific amount. And they are obligated to do that, which they wouldn't otherwise be obligated to do. And that's enough consideration to hold together the contract.
I think the plaintiff should get his $1,500 back, and that's the end of it.
All right, $1,500. I'm with you.
We have a verdict.
It's unanimous.